The set of The View was lit brighter than usual as Meghan Markle joined the hosts for a much-anticipated appearance. Dressed in a sleek navy suit and exuding grace, Meghan was expected to speak about her new documentary series and her philanthropic work. The audience welcomed her with thunderous applause, and the conversation started off light-talking motherhood, wellness, and adjusting to post-royal life. But as the dialogue shifted toward the British press, the atmosphere turned. Sunny Hostin mentioned a recent tabloid article that had criticized Meghan's public image. Meghan, keeping her composure, replied, "I've lived through worse headlines. My truth doesn't come from the tabloids." Joy Behar then chimed in with a sharp observation, saying, "But some people argue that you stepped into the spotlight willingly and can't expect privacy on your terms." Meghan's smile tightened, but she responded calmly, "There's a difference between public interest and targeted harassment." The crowd clapped, but Whoopi Goldberg raised an eyebrow and asked, "Isn't it true that many Americans don't fully understand what you stand for politically?" Meghan leaned forward. "I stand for compassion, dignity, and equality. I don't wear a political badge, but I won't stay silent on injustice." It was clear the hosts weren't going to stick to softball questions. Then came the shift. Alyssa Farah Griffin brought up criticisms of Meghan's comments about the royal family during her Oprah interview. "Some people say those claims were damaging without providing real evidence," she said. Meghan's expression hardened. "So, speaking my lived experience requires documentation now?" she shot back. "You want receipts for trauma?" The audience gave a tense laugh, but the air had thickened. Meghan crossed her arms, clearly not amused. When people endure racism, they're often asked to prove it instead of being believed. That says more about the questioner than the victim. Whoopi jumped in to shift the energy, but it was too late. Hostin tried to recover the segment by steering into a discussion about Meghan's charitable foundation. But Meghan wasn't letting go. "We always hear believe women until it's inconvenient," she added. I've had my motives questioned, my identity dissected, and my character dragged all because I didn't follow the script written for me." Joy looked visibly uncomfortable and said, "Well, some argue you wanted the perks of royalty without the responsibility. That did it." Meghan's voice raised slightly. "No, I wanted my son to grow up safe. I wanted to live, not survive. And I refused to play the role of the silent, grateful outsider." The crowd was no longer clapping. They were stunned. The panel tried to interrupt, but Meghan kept speaking. "It's interesting that when a woman of color asserts boundaries, she's labeled difficult. When she speaks her mind, she's branded divisive. I didn't leave the royal family to be coddled. I left to breathe." Farah Griffin pushed back again, suggesting Meghan's criticism of the monarchy was selective. "Why didn't you address the Queen more directly if things were that bad?" Meghan responded coolly, "Because I have enough respect not to drag. A grandmother threw the mud on TV, but make no mistake, I protected her. No one protected me." The line struck deep. The studio had gone icy quiet. As the tension escalated, Whoopi tried again to mediate. "It's important to let guests finish their truth, even if we disagree," she said. Meghan nodded but replied, "It's not just disagreement. It's tone, framing, and motive. There's a difference between dialogue and ambush." Mahor, trying to lighten the mood, quipped, "You sound like you've been media trained for battle." Meghan looked straight at her. "No, I've been through battle. There's a difference." At that, the air deflated entirely. All the audience murmured. Meghan removed her mic earpiece discreetly and placed it on the table with a grace that signaled she had reached her limit. Without waiting for the next question, Meghan stood up. "I came here to discuss healing and forward motion. This wasn't. This was disguised interrogation, and I've done that dance before." Hostin reached out gently and said, "Meghan, we didn't mean to offend." But Meghan smiled faintly and replied, "Intent doesn't erase impact." With that, she walked off the set. The camera followed her for a few seconds before cutting. Back to the stunned hosts, sitting in awkward silence. It was a moment that none of them expected, but it quickly defined the entire episode. Producers scrambled behind the scenes while Colbert's crew signaled for a break. Joy Behar attempted to regain footing. "Well, folks, that was unexpected," she said. Whoopi shook her head slowly. "Maybe we should have let her breathe a little more." The moment quickly went viral. Within minutes, social media lit up. With hashtags like #Meghan on The View and #Walked with Dignity, public opinion was split. Some praised Meghan's strength and dignity, while others accused her of being too sensitive. The clip of her final words was reposted millions of times across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Her fans saw her walk off as an act of self-respect. Her critics called it drama. Later that day, Meghan's spokesperson released a short statement. Meghan appeared on The View in good faith to promote unity and healing. She stands by her words and her choice to leave the conversation when it no longer aligned with those intentions. No further comment was made. The View did not issue an apology, but they acknowledged the segment had not gone as planned. On her personal website, Meghan wrote a brief blog post, "Sometimes walking away is braver than staying silent." The post resonated with millions, becoming the most shared article on her site that month. The moment sparked a national conversation about tone, boundaries, and public discourse. In the weeks that followed, The View received both criticism and praise for allowing the moment to air unedited. Meghan's departure became symbolic, a moment where a woman refused to let others define her narrative. The clash marked a turning point in her public persona, no longer just a duchess or actress, but a woman reclaiming her power in real time. Editorials called it one of the most riveting daytime moments in years. In a media world driven by conflict and clicks, Meghan didn't raise her voice or shed tears. She simply stood, spoke her truth, and walked. And sometimes, that kind of silence echoes louder than anything shouted.